Hey kids, grab your snowboards, get ready to shred in this review of Snowboard Kids 2.
Snowboard Kids 2!
Happy New Year, everybody. I'm putting this episode out on New Year's Eve of 2021, so that's pretty fun. And I thought I would review a game that reminded me of my childhood. The original Snowboard Kids is one of my favorite N64 games of all time. If you don't know what Snowboard Kids even is, you're like, Alex, what the hell are you talking about right now? Snowboard Kids was a franchise that had two titles on the N64. It was basically what happens when you combine a kart racer and a snowboarding game. Now, I grew up playing the original Snowboard Kids a ton. I fucking loved that game. I still love that game. It's a game that's very nostalgic for me and my younger sister. We played it a ton. And I've actually already reviewed that game in the past. And normally I would include that with my shitty game review volumes, because it's a review from years and years ago. But I actually decided to add the review of Snowboard Kids at the end of this video as a bonus review. So if you stay tuned after this review of Snowboard Kids 2, you will get a bonus review of Snowboard Kids from Shitty Alex from years ago. Snowboard Kids 2 is the follow-up to the original Snowboard Kids and improves on things greatly. I actually remember renting this game a ton whenever I was younger. It was a game that whenever I would go rent games, it was always a safe bet that Snowboard Kids 2 would give me a fun time. Now, it is kind of unfortunate that I always rented this title and never bought it, because it is a little pricey now, especially if you want a North American version. So I do kind of wish my parents would have just bought me this one instead of renting it as a kid. But, you know, when you don't have that much money growing up, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So renting games still got me to play them. I still have fond memories of playing this title, just probably not as much as the first game. For years, if you ask me, for years, I would tell you that while I really loved the original Snowboard Kids, that Snowboard Kids 2 was phenomenally better. And I think I still agree with that, but something funny happened when I went back to play Snowboard Kids 2. I hadn't touched it in years. I decided to emulate it for this review and play it to see how my opinions still hold up. And I think I like the first game more now. I think I just have more nostalgia for the original Snowboard Kids. I remember Snowboard Kids 2 having some really cool features, and it does. It has a full-blown story mode, which the first game was lacking. When I say story, though, I mean it's really just like a town hub with some races and some trick events and some other events, with little funny cutscenes between the events that happen. You know, there are boss fights, there are races and stuff, and just cute little cutscenes that play in between. So I wouldn't really call it a story, but it's a main single-player campaign, which is something the first game is really lacking. So that was something I always thought was pretty cool as a kid. Also, the level design in the second game is way wackier. While in the first game, there are a couple levels where you're like sliding down like a grassy mountain or like going through like a theme park. Most of it is like regular snowy mountains. Snowboard Kids 2, I think, has the opposite problem, where instead of most of the game being snowy mountains, the most of the levels are wacky. I think there's only a couple snowy levels in this game, and then there's crazy levels, like a level where you're shrunk down and snowboarding through someone's house, or a level where you're in a jungle full of animals, or a level where you're snowboarding through a castle, or you're in a beach snowboarding underwater. They really ran with the crazy level themes, which as a kid I adored. I thought that was the coolest thing. I remembered the level where you snowboard through the house crystal clear from when I was a kid. I thought it was amazing. Now, do I think it's amazing? It's still cool, but now we've come such a long way with these kind of kart racer party games that going back, I don't know. I don't know if I appreciate it as much now, because, I have games like Mario Kart 8 where, there's levels where you're inside of a giant clock, or games like Crash Team Racing, where there's all kinds of wacky, creative, like futuristic Mad Max levels and this and that. So going back and playing these wacky levels, I kind of just wanted regular snowboarding for part of it. Maybe that's why this was the only official follow-up to the first game. There is a DS title, but it is not part of the first two games. It is its own thing, and it's garbage. Don't play that. So maybe that's why they didn't do like an official third game. Maybe they were just running out of ideas. I don't know. But I kind of had the opposite stance, where I kind of like the first game's simplicity a little more than this title's willingness to go all out and just be crazy.
Ready? Go!
One of the elements I've always really liked about Snowboard Kids is the item system. In most kart racing or party racing games, when you collect items, you just hit the little thing in the on the road, you get an item and you use it. Snowboard Kids is a little more strategic. Items cost money. You earn money while racing. They're coins about the stage. Each box costs you, I think, like 100 money, and there are two types of boxes. There are red ones, which are usually projectiles, and there are blue ones, which could be anything. It could be something that affects everybody in the race, something that just affects you. It's something that you can't predict, so I always kind of like that. It makes you strategize. Ideally, if you're playing and you're in first, you want to go for the blue boxes because they can give you a speed boost, or they can let you drop a rock behind you to trip people, or they can let you throw frying pans or whatever that crush the other players. And then if you're in behind, you want to probably go with the red boxes for projectiles, but blue could help as well. You never know. Very fun system. Makes you strategize which items to get and how much money you're spending on those items, because you, unless you're constantly collecting coins, you're going to have a limited amount of funds. Really cool idea. Something that I don't think I've seen. I don't think I've seen any other racing game like this do like consumables that cost money. Really interesting idea. Plays great. I love snowboarding games, and I love kart racing or party racing games a ton. So it plays fantastic. I was playing here on my phone, emulating the second game, because again, I don't have a copy of this one. It's a game that I would like to own at some point, but I don't officially own it. But I'm still having a good time playing it. You know, I don't know if it's worth the money to the average consumer. I think, honestly, if you're interested, I think you could get your money's worth out of the first Snowboard Kids title. I think that game is phenomenal as well. And, you know, it's hard to put one over the other. I think they both excel in different areas. I think me personally, I would probably still prefer the first game because I have a deeper nostalgia for that title now. But I could see somebody that grew up with 2 enjoying it more as well. They're both phenomenal. Atlas published these games on N64. So these are officially my favorite Atlas games. Come at me, Persona and SMT fans. Snowboard Kids over Persona and SMT forever. And now that means that Sega officially owns Snowboard Kids, right? I think. I don't know. I hope that's the case, because I would love to see either these first 2 games get some sort of like an HD update on like the Switch or something, or them just make an entirely new entry. I think that one's less likely, but I would like to see these 2 games come back out, because I think these are some of the N64's quote-unquote hidden gems. That's what Metal Jesus would say, hidden gems. So I think these are some of the hidden gems of the N64, are Snowboard Kids and Snowboard Kids 2. Phenomenal games. I love them. I love this game. If you want to play a fun racing game, here you go. And like I said, I'm going to play my original review of the first Snowboard Kids from back whenever I still did videos, gaming videos on Frickin' Freck Films. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a happy fucking new year. I will see you guys in the future. I'm gonna hand it over to me from like 7 years ago. So enjoy this old shitty bonus review. Bye.
Super Hyper Turbo Gamers.
Hey Geeks and Gamers, welcome back. I haven't done a review in about a month. I needed to take some time off. I had a lot going on in my life. A lot of stuff happened. I just wasn't in the mood to do anything. So I haven't kept up on Sega Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to go on and continue Sega Sunday yet, or if I'm going to give it a break. But I'm back to do reviews, and I'm hoping to get back into swing of things with Snowboard Kids. Snowboard Kids for the Nintendo 64. Growing up, 2 of my favorite game types were always car racing games and snowboarding games. In fact, 2 of my favorite 64 games are 1080 and Diddy Kong Racing. So whenever I found a game as a kid that combined both snowboarding and kart racing, it just sparked something. I just love Snowboard Kids so much. It's such a nostalgic game for me. Let me explain what I mean. Snowboard Kids is a snowboarding game at heart. You're always going to be snowboarding down a hill. You're always going to be a kid on a snowboard doing jumps and going on the hill and trying to beat the other kids. But it adds in kart racing elements, tokens that you use to get items to help you advance in the race. And it really makes it for a fun, fast, chaotic feel. Even if the game does look a little dated and the controls really aren't the greatest, especially when it comes to snowboarding games, the game is still a lot of fun, and I would totally recommend this game to anybody who likes kart racing games and snowboarding games. I remember just playing this game for hours as a kid, especially with my sister. This game is great for multiplayer. The game only has about 6 courses, but it has a few other modes. Like it has 6 courses in the normal race mode, then it has like time attack, of course, and then it has like trick mode and speed mode and stuff like that. And that's my only problem with the game is indeed the trick system. As you'll see later, as I do one of the trick courses, the trick system isn't really as great as other snowboarding games, so it can feel a little sloppy and a little stiff at time, and I don't really like it all that much. But everything else, I think the game is really, really good. It has really good music and really good track design, and some of the later tracks are really out there. Like you'll be snowboarding on the grass and you'll be going through like a theme park and stuff, and it gets really cool. So, Snowboard Kids, this game is brought to us by Atlas. Yes, Atlas, you know, they make all the crazy RPGs and stuff nowadays. There was a time whenever they made Snowboard Kids, and this series didn't really get that far. It got 2 64 games, which are really good. Then it got 1 DS game that's not really good, and we don't really talk about. But the 2 64 games are really good. Snowboard Kids 2 has better tracks, to be completely honest, and more stuff, and it's just a better game. But Snowboard Kids 1 is still, I think, a great addition to any N64 library, and it's up there as one of my favorite N64 games. And like I was saying, I've been going through a whole lot lately, especially this past month, and I just need some time off. So what I've been doing is, instead of reviewing games, I've just been going back and playing old consoles of mine. Like lately I've been rocking the N64, so I might have a few other N64 reviews out soon, just to get myself started and talk about some games that I used to love as a kid. And Snowboard Kid is a game with a lot of personality. I like all the characters. You have about, I think, 6 characters, and they're all very different in the way they handle and stuff, and you have boards. You can choose the kind of board you want. They have, like, freestyle all around and alpine. Freestyle, yeah, all around and alpine. And you can also buy new boards, and you can customize your boards, like the paint jobs. And it's all really fun and good. This game really deserves more attention. I mean, look at this. I'm snowboarding down grass. That's pretty fantastic. But I mean, overall, it's a pretty good racing game with with like snowboarding elements and kart racing elements put together. It's a game that even if you're not a big fan of snowboarding games, I still think you could possibly like it if you like kart racing games. Because the downhill nature of a snowboarding game keeps the gameplay fast and fluent, right? While the kart racing like elements, like the items and whatnot, makes it more hectic and gives you more of a chance, especially if you're bad at snowboarding games. Like, I'm not perfect at snowboarding games. Like, I play games like SSX and whatnot. 1080. I love 1080, and I'm not perfect at those games though. So this game is like snowboarding game for kids. Snowboard Kids. What do you know? Now, what's cool also is that the items actually use tokens. Like, you have to collect the tokens and the coins while you race to get the items. See, as I hit this box here, my account went down from 500 to 440 because it takes just a little bit of money to purchase the items, which is pretty cool. And you have 2 types of items. You have the red boxes, which are like projectiles, and you have the blue boxes, which are like other varying types. Like, it'll be a fan, or it'll be a set of pans that'll hit all your opponents, or it'll turn you invisible, or I don't know, something like that that will affect the game differently. So it's really cool in the way it's laid out. But yeah, Snowboard Kids, I think, is a really fun N64 racer. Something that you could definitely get behind, especially if you're into these kind of fun, wacky, 90s like racing games. I think this game was released in '97, and I've had this cartridge forever. Like, I love this game so much, and it's just a good time. The Snowboard Kids is a good, just enjoyable game with a kind of weird trick system, but everything else I think is really good. As you can see here, my trick system stuff on this trick game is kind of wacky, and I never learned how to grind, so oh well. So I'll see you guys in my next review. I don't know what it'll be or when it'll be, but I hope you enjoyed Snowboard Kids. Give it a go. Find it on Amazon for cheap, and have yourself a good old time. See you guys in the next video.